everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Bevie and this is gonna be a get to know me, get ready with me chit chat. So if you would like to see how I achieved this look and get to know me better, find out some personal details about my life, keep on watching. So I'm just gonna be doing my makeup, obviously. Let's get ready. For foundation, I've been using the Hourglass foundations and I really love them. But a lot of the product, once you're done with it, because it comes up in the stick, it's about like that much, I think. There's a lot of product down here. So I just pull that out and I use it like that because, I mean, I think it's like $48, so it's not a super cheap foundation. I like to use it as long as I can. Because, girl, I like to save. If I can save, I'm saving. To start out, my name is Beverly, but my family calls me Bevie because I'm named after my mom. And I'm also named after my I don't know how many greats, my great-grandma. So my mom, she actually goes by Bev and I go by Bevie in my family. So nobody actually uses the name Beverly, which is great. I am 27. I'm about to be 28 next month. I am a Scorpio. So I'm from Denver, Colorado, born and raised. I grew up in Denver for most of my life. I moved to Lakewood, which is just like a suburb of Colorado, in middle school going to high school, and that was kind of tough for me just because it was such a different experience and everything. I ended up going to a high school around there and I hated it just because, you know, everybody went to middle school, elementary school, everything together, and it was just really hard for me. It was very it was a big culture shock for sure because I was used to going to predominantly Latino high schools and this was predominantly Caucasian. So I went there for about a year and a half and then I transferred high schools and I went to a high school that one of my close friends at the time went to, but then we didn't even end up like being really good friends. But anyways, I ended up really liking the school I transferred to, and it was really good because that school actually helped a lot more. They have like a fast fun night and they did all of that stuff, which really helped me to be able to know what college I wanted to go to. I ended up graduating in 2010. Then I went on to the University of Denver. It was a culture shock for sure as well, going to the University of Denver, but I feel like I kind of already knew what to expect and I was like kind of prepared just because I went to a high school like that because it's predominantly Caucasian. I started out majoring in engineering and it was okay. I mean, I really thought I was like, it was going to be great. I was going to jump into it and I was going to like love everything about it because I loved math and science and all that. And it definitely was not that case. It was not the case for me. It was very difficult adjusting to everything and it just, I didn't feel like it was the place I belonged. Well, I was kind of talking out with a couple people if I should change my major. And I came to the conclusion that I kind of needed to. And the biggest thing was you have to talk to like your advisor. So I was talking to him about it and that I was thinking about changing my major. And he told me like, you know, you got to think about it this way. It's not about what you're going to be doing for the next 4 years because I was a first year. It's about the next 40 years of my life. And I thought about it and it was definitely not something I wanted to be doing for the next 40 years of my life. And so for that reason, I really decided like I need to change my major. It was a difficult decision because my dad really wanted me to do engineering, my parents in general, just because it's a good major for women of color as well as just women to go into. There was basically about like 8 girls in the program, which was really crazy that there was only 8 girls. It was not for me. I couldn't do it. But I think if I went to a semester school, it might have been different, just because at DU, because it is a quarter system, it's at 10 weeks. And so if you are behind in any way, you're behind, like you're really behind. And so for me, that was really tough because it was a lot to learn and to take in such a short amount of time. So I had to tell my dad, and of course I waited till the last minute, and I shouldn't have done that, but I waited till the very last day, the very last night I could tell him, because the next night was registering for classes, and you have to be on top of that, like on top of it, because if you don't get on your computer on time to register for classes, all the classes fill up quickly. So I had to tell him that day, and I was really scared. And of course, that same day, of all days, my sister thought it was a great idea. Well, I mean, I guess, whatever, it's her prerogative, she can do whatever she wants. But she told my dad that she was pregnant with their second child, and she was nervous and scared because she was young, but she wasn't like too young to have a child type of thing. And she was just nervous about it. So she told my dad, and he was like caught off guard and everything. And I was just like, oh great, now I have to go next, because there's no other time for me to tell him. And I just kind of had to tell him. It's like pulling a band-aid off. And so I was like, Dad, I have to tell you something. And he's like, what? You're pregnant too? And I was like, no. I was like, no. I couldn't believe that. That was like the conclusion he came to. And I was like, no. And my mom's like, you're changing your major. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh my gosh. And I was like, but I'm changing it to finance and all this stuff. And I was changing my major to finance, and I was going to minor in management. Management was something I was always really interested in, just because of the entrepreneurial aspect to it. That was something that I like really knew I wanted to get into, owning my own business, because I had really thought, like I've really thought about the idea of owning like a restaurant or a dance studio, and that was actually like something I really looked into during my time at DU, just because it was really nice, because the classes I took, you did like a business plan, and you really got to figure out what you'd want to do with management, and if you were looking at the entrepreneurial aspect of it. And so I took a class that was called A Walk Down Wall Street, and it was an interterm class, so that's like a class that you take during your break. And my line sister really wanted to do it, and she was a finance major too. Well, she was a double major, but she was doing finance as well. The whole point of the class was to be able to see other students from the University of Denver that majored in finance, and what they're doing with their degree, what their profession is, how their life looks like, all of that. So I just set my face with the Laura Mercier setting translucent powder. I really like to use that for my face, but I just dab it on. Sometimes I bake. That's usually when it's like gonna be a long day and I have to keep my makeup on for a long time, or going to a party or something. So we went to New York, and we were seeing all these people in their different professions, and they were just telling us about their life, and that they really didn't have a life, and that they were just like focused on their career and everything like that. And that was not something that I wanted to happen to me. I didn't want my career to take over my life, because I still wanted to get married, have kids, do all of that. It just wasn't my passion, and I just didn't feel myself being like, yes, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to be. And I get that New York is a different lifestyle, and everybody lives differently, and it's a little bit more fast-paced than Denver lifestyle, but I still knew this is kind of the field I would be going into and the kind of career I'd be going into. So for me, I just didn't want to do it. So I ended up changing my major to management and my minor in finance, which worked out perfectly because I ended up just switching the two, and it was really easy because finance I only need to take one more class for it to be my minor, and then management the rest of the classes I took for my senior year because I was in my last year. I was at DU for 4 years, and the last classes I needed to take were just specifically for management, and it was great. Right now, actually, my husband and I, we own a business. My husband, his name's Alex. We actually met while we were in college. I am a part of a sorority called Pi Lambda Chi Latina sorority. So it's a multicultural sorority. And so what that means is it's not the typical sorority that you see on TV and on movies. Maybe some movies, maybe like Stomp the Yard is closer to what it would be like, but basically multicultural sororities, they don't have a house, and the main focus is to graduate and to really have someone help you through college and kind of through all your steps of life. Personally, my experience, it was a home away from home and somebody I can ask for help, like how do I drop this class, how do I do this, how do I do that, and really that was also my support behind being able to change my major, because my line sisters at the time were really backing me and telling me, like, if this is what you want to do, you need to do it, and this is what's going to make you happy, do it, we support you 100%. And so for me, being a part of the organization really helped me out. I was actually part of the national board for about as long as I've been in the organization. So I crossed in spring 11, and I've now been a member for 8 years, and I was part of the national board for 7 years. And it's been nice to be able to step back and kind of look at the organization and just help from the outside and really be a support in that way. But anyways, so I met my husband right after I crossed. His organization had crossed their line, and it was him, and they had like a little, like a coming out party, and at this they just bring out their new members and they present them to everyone, and you get to meet them, tell them congratulations, all of that. And this is my first party like that I had been to. Well, I think it was my first college party actually too. And so I went with my line sister, and she actually couldn't leave her house. Her mom didn't let her, so she ended up sneaking out, and I had to like park down the street and pick her up. It was so fun. It's so funny to think about now. I have 7 line sisters, so I'm a part of a line of 8, but it was just me and her who went, and there was other sisters there. But yeah, I ended up meeting my husband because we played beer pong against each other, and I lost. He was really a great beer pong player back in the day. Now it's a little different because we're like old AF. I met him that way, and I got introduced to him, and then I didn't see him again until the summer later on, and we just got to know each other more, and we were really friends at first, and then it turned into something more. I'm just really grateful for meeting him because now we have a child together. He's almost 2 years old, and he is just like the coolest kid ever. He loves to listen to Cardi B, and he loves like Baby Shark. He loves to twerk, and he also likes rock music. He like does a lot of headbangers. I could probably insert some clips of him, dancing and living his best life. He's just the cutest kid ever, and such a blessing. We're trying for him. He was a planned pregnancy, and I just kind of felt like the time was right for us to start a family. Well, we both felt, obviously it wasn't just me, both of us felt like the time was right. And I kind of always thought, oh, by the time I'm 25, I'm going to have a couple of kids, a car, a house, all these things. And for me, that was just not realistic. But when you're so young, you're like, yeah, by 25, I'm going to have everything. Like, how can I not? And at 25, that was not all going on. I got pregnant when I was 25, so it's kind of funny to think back at. And I had him when I was 26, and I just think it was a perfect time for us because I know a lot of people say like babies bring blessings, and he definitely brought a lot of blessings into our life. And now we have like a great living situation, a great house that we live in. We're able to run our business out of. So we own a t-shirt, we own a screen printing and embroidery business. So we do a lot of printing for t-shirts, banners, any kind of swag you can think of. That's basically what we do. And I really love being able to work from home because we have actually set up a schedule to where I'll work a couple of days and do some of our production and just other things that we need to get done. And then my husband, Alex, he'll work the other days. And when I'm working, he's spending time with the baby, which is nice because they get their little alone time together. And when he's working, I'm spending time with the baby. Now that I cleaned my eyebrows, I'm going to do, I'm going to do my eyeshadow. So I'm going to go for like a fall look. I've been really gravitating towards the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. It's this one. I just feel like it has a lot of good fall colors, you know, a lot of deep burgundies, browns, oranges, some sparkles in there, you know, I like it. So I'm just going to start out with the lighter orange and then build my way up. That's the kind of look I'm going to go for. I really like the fall time, and I also like the winter time. My favorite is the fall though, because I am a big like spooky season kind of person. I love scary shit all the time. Anytime I'm with a group of people and we're like, if we're camping or just doing anything, basically I'm like, let's tell scary stories. Like, I'm just so into that. Or I love watching scary movies. I have two of my line sisters. We have a little group message on Instagram, and whenever something scary comes out, we're like, let's go see that. Like, we need to go see that. And so I'm like super into scary stuff all the time. I even will fall asleep to scary movies, or scary shows. My husband's like, you're crazy. And I'm like, it's just, you know, I enjoy it. I enjoy watching that kind of stuff. Those are the kinds of movies I enjoy, scary movies. When I was a kid, I loved scary movies too. And my grandma said she'd be like, wait, what the heck? Why does this little kid want to watch Freddy Krueger all the time? And I don't know. I've always been into scary movies and all of that. So Halloween time, fall time is my favorite because of that. Also, I love wearing dark colored lipsticks and just different kind of dark rich colors. It's just like, I love it. So here for it. I love to dress for the winter and the fall. I do not like to be in the weather for it, if that makes sense. I don't like to be out in the cold. I like to dress for the cold. I like to be cozy and warm and big sweaters and all that. But as far as driving in the snow, being in the snow, that's just like not my jam. But yeah, that's like one of my biggest things. I just really love scary movies. And I didn't really touch on it, but I am one of 5 for my family. Wait, 1 of 5? Yeah, 1 of 5. My parents, they have been together for a long time, and I really admire their relationship. My mom, I really look up to her because she basically became a mom when she met my dad, because he had 3 daughters already, which are my 3 half-sisters. And I don't really see them as my half-sisters just because they've been in my life forever, since all I can remember. So they are my sisters, and my mom has always been a mother to them. One's 3 years older than me, one's 6 years, and one's 9 years older than me. And then my brother is 5 years younger than me. So there's kind of a gap between all of us, but it's not too much. I just really like the idea of having a big family. I just feel like we had so much fun together, and I just remember all our traditions that we did like during the holidays, and it's just such a beautiful thing, I think, to have such a big family. My great grandma, I had the privilege of having her in my life for such a long time. She passed away about a year ago, and she was in her 90s, and she got to meet my son, which was so beautiful. And just like one of the best things. And she ended up passing, and we definitely were privileged to have her in our life for a long time. Gosh. But she had 8 kids, and so because of that, our family was huge. I just remember being at Christmas and the room being filled with so much family, and all that family was because of her. Like, we're all created from her, and we all stem, you know, from her. Like, it's just the most beautiful thing. I aspire to be like my great grandma one day, and, you know, have like this room full of a bunch of people that were created by me. But no, really, just to be surrounded by so much love and family. Some of the things I like to do for fun, I really enjoy dancing. That's one of my big passions, is dancing. I've been dancing since I was 3 years old. My mom put me in like a ton of things. So I was in ballet, and I've been in jazz, tap, hip hop, and I've also been in folklorico dancing, as well as cheerleading. When I was in college, through my sorority, I tried out for the step team, and I was a part of that for about 2 years, and so we did different competitions with strolling and stepping. I really enjoyed being a part of the step team. It was really nice to be able to still do stuff with dancing, because like I said, I am very passionate about dancing. When I was in college, one of my main goals was to start a dance studio. That is still one of my goals, but now I see more like everything that would go into it. So I think that'd be something down the road if I still want to do it. But I really love everything that has to do with dancing. I used to teach quinceañera surprise dances. I taught 3 of them, and it was fun, but oh man, it was difficult. The only one that was really the most difficult was doing it for my cousin, just because I feel like those kids did not take me serious, and I was always yelling at them because my brother was like her main, you know, guy, and so I was on his ass a lot, and it was difficult, to say the least. But I love creating choreography and doing all that, so it was still a lot of fun. And I also worked in the past for this dance company that would it would have different teachers go out to different middle schools and teach them choreography, and just like to keep the students interacting, and to keep them just like doing things after school and doing things that were productive and healthy for them. So also recently, my husband and I got married, and we had a destination wedding, and we decided on having a destination wedding because, well, I went to my cousin's destination wedding. I was actually a part of it. I was part of her, I was a bridesmaid, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked being around everybody for that amount of time, and just spending time with each other, and it felt like it just didn't pass by so quickly. And we really looked into it because I really wanted to do it, and my fiance, well, my husband.
Let's start it again. I'm Becca. This is my husband. You don't have a husband.
At the time, he wasn't as convinced, but then when we really looked into it, it just seemed like the best option for us personally, just because it's significantly cheaper, and it has a whole different kind of feel and vibe to it when you have a destination wedding, and it just feels like everything lasts longer. And I really enjoyed it, and I really loved being around our friends and family every day. And everybody that went really enjoyed it. We did an all-inclusive, so basically everything was included, all food and drink for all day, 24 hours, room service type of thing. And so it was really nice. And that was my 3rd time staying in an all-inclusive resort, which I really enjoy and I really recommend, because you kind of can just enjoy yourself and stay at the resort. The wedding was great. We had a great time. There were a couple of minor things that happened after the wedding, and it's just crazy. It's like the craziest fucking story. It's literally like a lifetime story, so I'll do a story time on that with my husband about what happened to us at our wedding, or basically what happened after. But other than that, it was great. And then after that, 2 months later, we went on our honeymoon, and we decided to go to Jamaica. And we both wanted to do an all-inclusive again because, like I said, we just wanted to relax at the hotel, and we wanted to just spend time there and spend time together. And I didn't want to have to worry about leaving to go eat and just certain things like that. So that was really nice. If you're looking for somewhere to travel to, I would recommend Jamaica just because it is so beautiful. But we were out there for about 5 days, and we had it 2 months after the wedding because we had to figure out a date that worked with my mom as well as my sister, because they both helped with taking care of the baby while we were gone, because we weren't going to take him with us to our honeymoon. We did do like the honeymoon fund, so like for my bridal shower, I didn't ask anybody for any gifts because we were kind of already settled in our house as well. If anybody wanted to give us gifts for the wedding that came to the destination wedding, everything like that, they could do it through the honeymoon fund. Or we also did a Venmo for our wedding. Our hashtag we used was hashtag Destination Garcia, just because it was like, it's a destination wedding, and the destination at the end of it for me is to become a Garcia. So I just did a couple of layers. I'm using the, what is this? The Lancome mascara. It's like a little tiny one. Oh shit. So I've also been using the Roller Lash by Benefit, and I like this one too, so I'm just going to go over it a little bit. Even though I'm going to put on some false eyelashes just because my lashes are really small. I was not blessed with like beautiful, big, luscious, good lashes. Basically, my lashes are pretty small, and my mom's are pretty small. And guess what? My brother's are nice, beautiful lashes, and he has thick eyebrows, and I do not. And so I am low-key, high-key hating, because I just don't understand how that always happens. Like, I know so many people, like so many men have great lashes, and it's just not fair. Let me just clean this a little bit.
Not your husband and son?
So I only have left to do my lipstick and my eyelashes. And also, my son has great lashes too, which he was blessed by his father to get, obviously not by me. You're welcome. So just like, it's just some fucked up shit, man. Some fucked up shit for us females. Well, for us females with long short lashes, with long short lashes? What am I talking about? With short lashes. If you have short lashes, if you have short lashes, you know where I'm coming from, and you know what I'm talking about. And girl, you have some nice false lashes on, maybe, or maybe you embrace the small lashes. Girl, do that too. Ain't no judgment here. I have been loving the very dramatic looking lashes. Right now, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately. My most favorite podcast ever is My Favorite Murder. It's a true crime podcast, and I just love it. I really love it. I love to hear about true crime, and I think because I'm just like always hyper aware of my surroundings, just because I feel like, well, my mom first of all has always told me like any kind of crazy story she's ever heard of that involves someone around my age, which I like hearing those stories because I just feel like I want to be prepared as possible for any kind of situation, and those kind of stories get me prepared for like anything. I feel like, even though obviously you can't be prepared for everything, but I just feel like I am more aware with my surroundings and things that happen around me just because of certain things like that. Like I like to watch like I Survived and different crime shows and stuff like that. I just find it really interesting. And I actually went to see Karen and Georgia from My Favorite Murder. They're the hosts for the podcast. I seen them live, and they are so hilarious to see live. I loved it. I laughed the whole show because it's a true crime comedy podcast. And when I say that, it might sound weird, but you kind of need to listen to it to see what I'm saying. It just, for me, it feels like when I'm listening to it, it feels like I'm talking to friends. And there's this meme that's like literally what I feel like when I'm listening to the podcast, because I'll be listening to it while I'm like at the gym and I'm cracking up. There's people around me like, what the fuck is this bitch laughing at? I also really like listening to scary story podcasts because I'm like super into scary stuff as well. And I listen to, my favorite one I listen to is True Scary Stories with Edie, and that one has like comedic commentary after each story too, so it's kind of nice because it's not so scary, because some stories are pretty scary. I also like listening to Crime Junkie, and that one's another true crime podcast, but it's a little bit more serious than My Favorite Murder, so it has a totally different feel for it. That's way too nude. I'm gonna do this one and then put a little bit of the nude in the middle. I need to fix my lipstick. I think lipstick is literally an art to it because, man, putting it on is intense. And trying to get every line straight and smooth. Have any of you put it on while you're driving? It's a bitch. Well, not you driving. Hopefully you're not putting it while you're driving, but like while your significant other or your partner's driving. That is hard. I've done it and I've fucked up my whole makeup by doing it that way. So I've learned to like just chill out a little bit, wait till the car stops moving. It'll be fine if you don't have it on that second. Beautiful.
Do you agree? What? You think you're really pretty?
Just kidding. And I love me some matte lipstick. It's nice. Regular lipstick's nice too, but it's just harder sometimes because I feel like it just gets everywhere, and I love a good matte lipstick that dries nicely and you don't feel like it's getting everywhere. So I got these lashes from Amazon and I've been loving them, and they were not that expensive, and it came with 7 pairs, and I have some little lashes that I cut, but they look like this and I've been using them. They've been really great. It came in like this kind of pack. I was a little skeptical at first, but I just personally, I love them. I'm loving the dramatic look lately. And as you can tell, my hair was wet at the beginning of the video, but it's pretty much dry. I have naturally curly hair, and it takes like forever to dry, but this is the end look. I'm just gonna do some setting spray. But if you're interested in these lashes, I'll leave the link below for it so you can check them out. They have a bunch of different styles. I love them a lot. So this is the final look. This is my fall-esque kind of look. If you liked this video and you have any questions, please comment below. Please like and subscribe. And until then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Say welcome back to my channel, everyone. My name's Ruben.